Morning, everybody. Let me get all my tabs open here. First things first, my heart goes out to all the people affected by the storms. I, man, it's hard to talk about because, like, I have grown up in the Midwest and there have been so many tornadoes and storms over the course of my life, but it's always managed to miss me, personally. Um, but I'm thinking a lot about St. Louis today. From what I understand, St. Louis, Missouri got rocked by several tornadoes last night. Um, One of the things I try to do with my platform is lead with empathy. I think anytime you can just say, "Hey, I'm thinking about people who are suffering right now, man." To be completely honest with you. But again, this is Justice's Waiting Room. This is a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. Morning, everybody. Amanda, Dubs, Cece. Listen to a little war. Hope you're having a nice weekend otherwise. And then in some happy news, as I've said before, I feel like I don't know if I've said it enough. I feel like I'm a member of the band on the Titanic as it's going down. Um, or at least I was when I worked in healthcare because I was like, there's no way this shit will fucking work. There's no goddamn way you have people on Medicare and Medicaid being denied healthcare who have fucking health issues. Largely, it's kind of where my head was at. About 18 months ago, actually, I was in my fourth year helping the elderly and the poor with their health care, and I was just like, this shit cannot continue. Like, not me coming to work. Like, that's just fucking part of life, baby. But failure case after failure case after failure case, and again, you can only take so many fucking phone calls a day where somebody's telling you about how their healthcare fucked them. But I wanted to point out that United Healthcare's profit fell by half after St. Luigi. Um, and now their stock health is so poor, it's signaling the collapse of United Healthcare. So make sure if you've got uh, a retirement money or stock money wrapped up in United Healthcare, long time ago should have got out. Okay. Again, this isn't a shit on shitty companies show. That's not kind of what we do here. But I just want to point out, as I have done over the course of my life, time and time a fucking again, sat here and said, I told you so. Luigi signaled the end. I hope you realize that. Not the beginning. I've told you universal healthcare. Do you think the people that provide healthcare give a shit how much you pay for it? I'm just all I'm thinking about, isn't there an oath? Don't you take like an oath when you get into healthcare? You don't give a fuck if they're poor. And what's hilarious is there's people out here that actually think you can pay for better healthcare. I know that in your heart of hearts, you wish that you could just buy better healthcare, but the facts are, facts are, the best healthcare has no cost. I wasn't gonna say it, Luann, because I'm not in healthcare. But it's called the Hippocratic Oath. You're right. Okay. The people that provide you healthcare do not care if you have money. They care that you have a healthcare issue and they're trying to help you with it. I hope that helps. Thanks, Luann. You see what I try to do is like tiptoe around other people's gardens and be like, no, that's somebody's fucking wheelhouse. They're gonna let me know, right? It's encouraging a little bit of participation, right? Yeah, I wanna make sure that I again you use my platform, right? And say what my direct life experience yielded was, hey, you know what we ought to do? We ought to just keep people alive. We ought to fucking we ought to check on our neighbors and shit. Right? To the tune of I don't know, like $500 a week. Just for staying around. You know what I mean? Like we really should. These programs have already been instituted and have already been successful. Probably part of the reason that it hasn't been implemented widely is because it works. But you would be surprised what giving someone $500 every Friday does. How about nullifies crime? Like there is not an reported increase in crime with an increase in wages earned, especially when we're talking about like $24,000 a year. But yeah, our tax money, we pay so much in tax money that we could all have universal income. We could all have universal income. We could have universal housing. Okay. There are, last I checked, there are 10 times as many empty homes as there are homeless people in the United States. Now, here's the thing that I also know. We're not perfect at data gathering, so I'm willing to bet there's a lot more fucking homeless people than we're willing to admit. That's the kind of thing, little nugget I've had tucked in the back of the dome there for a while. Is there's far more fucking homeless people than you'll ever care to admit. So it's not necessarily 10 times as many empty homes as there are homeless people. Okay. And that's not to say living out of your car is awful. You know, I've watched some content creators living out of their fucking car. I notice how little they sleep. Interesting. So hey, as we are kind of known to do every day, we're gonna share news that we don't think is being widely reported. Okay. For example, we started out with obviously United Healthcare taking a dangerous dip to the point of being almost unrecoverable, which is signaling the collapse of the U.S. healthcare system. And I've been sitting using my platform for a long time and saying like, hey, hey, United Healthcare is like the major player. Good morning, Joanne. We need universal healthcare. We need all these healthcare companies in the United States to offer free healthcare. And the thing about it is they already do. It's just in order to get universal healthcare, you either have to be a veteran or you have to be destitute, which feels kind of dehumanizing. That you basically you can get universal healthcare if you almost die for this motherfucker, or like you know what I mean, like suffer greatly or have nothing. I think that's a shitty deal. I think if my lowly ass deserves it, then everybody deserves it. That's kind of the way I perceive it. A lot of people are thinking like, military's like on top of the food chain because they don't have to pay for healthcare. And it's like, right, but who else gets free healthcare in the United States? TikTok, TikTok. That's right, poor people. Right, destitute. Mm-hmm. Yep. Hmm. I noticed a lot of my clients are veterans, teachers, union members, making strong financial decisions. Kane said the hospitals don't even give you good medicine anymore. Right? They're profit driven, so they're looking at number of visits as a driver for profit because they get a chip the old $50 off you for the copay. I just want to point out, and someday people will realize, and maybe it'll be long after I'm dead. But at some point, y'all will realize all these healthcare companies exist outside of the United States. In the other 33 countries in the world that have universal healthcare and free healthcare for everybody, and in 33 other countries, did you know they make so much goddamn money and profit, they don't even need your money? That's right. All that money that Americans pay for their healthcare isn't even necessary for the healthcare companies to profit into the billions every fucking year. Hmm. Yep. That's right. That should super, super piss you off. That's right. Went for a cat scam. My copay was going to be $1,000. See ya. No thanks. Joanne, that's horrible, dear. My wife and I went to Mexico many years ago. Story time. Take your breaks now. We'll be back with the news. Many years ago, I worked for a company, and they had like an annual contest, and they have like an annual out of country trip, and I won. And my wife and I and a bunch of the people a bunch of my colleagues from work, we all got to go to Cancun for I don't know, like 5 or 6 days, whatever. Um, Anyway, when we came back, I had Montezuma's fucking revenge. Like I I think I might have been the water on the airplane back, actually. And I was the next day, um I literally was at work with a trash can between my legs, earling, and I think about the ninth time I could no longer keep down anything, crackers, Gatorade, water, nothing. I had to drive myself with a trash can between my legs to the VA hospital. Okay. Um, I, dude, I was, by the time I got into the emergency room, the lady said I looked like I was glowing. I was like sweating. And she was like, "Are you okay? Are you dripping wet right now?" And I was just like, I just came back from Mexico and I feel like my brain's gonna fall out. Something's fucking wrong with me. Here's this is a dead ass true story. Holy shit! Man, flashbacks are a motherfucker. Okay, so I was like literally dripping sweat off the end of my fingertips when I got to the emergency room. Keep in mind, like sick to my stomach, earling consistently, sweating out like a motherfucker. By the time I got into the emergency room, she's like, "Let me get you into a room." They locked me in like a fucking back room, right? With put a fucking mask on my face. They put something in my butt. You know what I mean, to check you out, right? Dude, they wheeled me the fuck around the VA hospital. Test, blood test, this test, give you this, have me on a fucking IV, like blah blah blah, like the battery of tests that you run on a person when they have a fucking unknown illness. And you know what they told me? Yeah, we don't know what the fuck that was. And you know what the bill was? Thank you. I'm still here. I had no diag, no. When you go back and look, it's like, oh, look at all this treatment from the emergency room. Oh, they whipped you around the fucking hospital. What the fuck happened to you? I have no idea. Hmm. I just know that within 24 hours after returning from Mexico, I thought I was going to die. And I came to the VA hospital. And they ran every test you could imagine. And I'm not even in medicine at all, so I'm not going to pretend like the battery of tests you would run in the event somebody has a fucking unknown illness. I don't even know what the fuck that is. I don't know what that is. I wasn't conscious. I was also like unconscious by that point, and recovered. I mean, obviously we've been doing this for like over 6 months, so clearly I'm like okay. And this was also like 7 or 8 years ago. Do you realize if that happened, that same event happened just a few years prior to that, I'm not here just because of the rate of change in treatment potential in medicine. See, my mom worked in healthcare my whole life. I mean, she also worked for the post office for a long time. My mom worked in healthcare for most of my life, so I like grew up around healthcare providers. I know it's like a fucking hard gig. There, you're like learning doesn't stop, which I know is impossible for the lot of us, right? At some point, your brain's just like, I can't take anymore. So yeah, like I said, everyone should get health care, and it shouldn't cost you anything. It's a badass story. I think it's a badass story. You guys probably are like, that's weird. What's up, Empress? Hey, good morning, Hugo. Good to see y'all. Again, we're thinking about all the people affected by the tornadoes. So we kind of started off a little somber this morning, saying, "Hey, we're thinking about everybody affected by weather." I'm gonna try to be funny and fail. For those of you whose houses got blown away by tornadoes, consider the Mayday movement. My insurance company would probably not let me participate in the reconstruction of my abode, and so I humbly ask, maybe we go to a protest? We got nowhere else to be. Come on, y'all. That was supposed to be funny. Nobody. I know it's like bad. That's the whole point of gallows humor is like when you're in the shit, you. Hey, Ladybug. It's you're supposed to make the joke when you're in the darkest hour. That would make it gallows humor. Everybody raise your spirits a little bit. And I'm dead ass. That's what I would do. And again, also not what people want to hear right now. Um, Thanks, Ladybug. I appreciate you, fam. I want to point out how I worked in food service for years. I was a bartender by trade. So shout out to all my bartenders. Best money I've well, second best money I've ever made in my life. I got that gig right now. But the bartending is the most money I've ever made per hour. Um, it's the most fun I've ever had outside of partying while on active duty or partying while in college. And to be completely honest with you, the most fun I've ever had in my entire life was Saturdays college football at Purdue University. I don't know what the fuck everybody else was doing, but I was having a goddamn ball and going to watch some ball. That's what's up. Okay. But So I hope you all obviously have a great weekend. A lot of people are not in a great space this morning when they wake up. I have a branch real high up in a tree hanging over the back of my house, dropping limbs onto my roof and kind of it's like a broken toothpick going into my roof. It's not really doing anything, but it could. Trees get to whipping around there, it could really throw that branch through the. But I don't have the tools, and I can't imagine what that costs to get it fixed. Jesus Christ. I just want to point out that the Supreme Court spent all day yesterday turning Donald Trump inside out and just making sure the world knows that they're not in support of him using the Alien Enemies Act to kidnap and traffic people. I just want to make sure that as these ICE raids continue, that the Supreme Court of the United States has kind of put a kibosh on all that, if we're being real honest. Any further action is in defiance of the U.S. Supreme Court. I just feel real bad for the people getting caught up in this shit. Does that make sense? Like I feel bad. Um, you got Donald Trump here wanting to pull people off of ports and borders to boost immigration rates. So it was never about secure borders. I just want to point this out. The President of the United States wants to pull people from ports and the borders, so it was never about port or border security. I don't want to ever hear that shit the fuck again. Y'all don't give a fuck about that at all. Okay? It just happens to be like a racist card you can play, like border security. And it's like, have you ever been to Mexico? I'm just asking. I'm talking about south of Tijuana. No offense to Tijuana. Mexico's fucking beautiful. What are you talking about? See, this is how I know most people have not left the United States. Okay? Here's how I know. Are you ready? When I say Mexico south of Tijuana, your brain thinks of Brazil. You're an idiot. That's a whole that's a thousands of miles away. But Mexico's fucking beautiful. But don't think Amazon, Brazil when someone says south of Tijuana. That's not nope. Yes, it is. I've been all the fuck over Mexico. Oaxaca, Cancun, Playa del Carmen. Isn't that what that's called? Mr. Whiskers. All the merchants on the street in Playa del Carmen. They were great. Like, what are you looking for, Mr. Whiskers? Tequila. Like, oh, come. And they took us to this little like galleria of tequila. Like literally, you were walking on bottles of tequila. Like you could buy that. A lot of Americans moving to Mexico. That sucks. There's gonna be a lot of Mexican cooks making fucking burgers. You're gonna have to learn how to make a tenderloin there, Oaxaca. I hate it. I hate it. It was really, actually, to be completely honest with you, because it was like a work trip. Your options were to like stay at this all-inclusive resort and just get drunk all day, which is cool, totally an option. Or I actually was friends with the Latin slash Spanish team. In fact, like these people have been part of their lives outside of work and after we worked at that company. But they took us around Mexico. So they took us to a private cenote, which was awesome. Did you know there are these? It's like God held onto the earth like a bowling ball, and they're just like fingertip dips in the ground, and they are filled with actually pretty clean water actually. And you can like rappel across or whatever, or dive into these private cenotes. They're on people's property. Um, and having never seen that, I was kind of introduced to caving as a child, and as you could tell, I don't know if we've talked about that. My reaction to caving as an adult has been like the most nope energy ever. I don't know about any of y'all. I don't know about any of y'all, but caving, nightmare fuel. Like, mm-mm, mm-mm. First of all, I'm a big guy, but like crawling between two slabs, like, ugh. Starfish said, "Gold Colts, baby. Our receiving core is legit. Need AR to step up." Hmm. Yeah, yeah. And the thing about Anthony Richardson that people don't talk about enough is that this upcoming season, what will be his first season with a full off season where he's not either a fucking rookie in the NFL, not guaranteed to start, or coming off injury. So he'll have this whole off season to get locked in, and have, I would argue, probably his best year this upcoming season. He really kind of needs it. But again, I want to make sure like I coach quarterback, scout quarterback, play little, right? Um, he has a tendency to hold on to the ball to try to get to the next level receiver. If you look at his A dot, his average distance of travel, it's astronomical. So that means every time he lets go of the ball, it's a first down, right? He's throwing for a first down or a touchdown, not a check down. So, and I know that there's people out there like, oh my God, there's a guy talking about football telling the quarterback to hit the check down. But it's about getting the ball out of your hand quickly to the person that can get the most yards the fastest and put you in the best spot possible. It is absolutely, football is not about the quarterback dropping back, seeing how long he can fucking hold on to it, and then at the last second trying to throw a hero ball, right? That's not good quarterback play. As someone who actually played this game, you believe this or not, a lot of times I know where the ball is going before the ball is snapped. And that's the difference between like a young kid who doesn't know what the fuck they're doing and someone that, dude, I played organized padded football at 38 years old and was a quarterback. And there's film on me ripping apart an actual defense. Try again. Is the border secure? Yes. I've been there so time in school work they do. I don't understand. The border is secure. What are you talking about? The U.S. military is currently operating in the U.S. border. How is it not secure with all these assets and money and put out there? I don't understand. It's like a war zone to y'all, but it's not like that. It's not like that. Like people aren't lined up trying to come into the United States. But yeah, Mexico's probably cheaper to live, right? What is my bleeding? I just realized that on the side of my head. Sorry, y'all. That's kind of wild. I didn't even know that was there. Thanks for the help. Oh no, I made it worse. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, don't stop touching it, Jared. Yeah, somebody on TikTok is implying that the U.S. border is not secure. How is it not secure with all these assets down here? You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you think the U.S. border is unsecure with all these assets in play? with all the troops being sent, right? Oh, I made it way worse. I'm so sorry. How embarrassing. Don't bleed on camera. Holy shit. It's just random. I don't know. Was I scratching inside of my head? Maybe a dog got me or something. It's part of living with dogs. Is it? Okay. We'll monitor it. But yeah, I was talking about working in food service for a reason. I have um, decade plus in a kitchen, and I just want to point out that I have heard 86 a zillion times in my life, okay, and never has anything died. I just I just want to throw that out there. Like, I worked in a kitchen for over a decade of my life. I've heard 86 tons, tons. Guess how many things died? None. So 8647 is not. I'm not trying to hurt anyone. It means to stop that. Stop letting people order that. Stop giving us that, right? So it's like when they 86 carrots, right? That just means when people order food and it has carrot on it, you got to tell them, "Hey, you can't order that anymore." That's that's what 86 something means. It means to stop giving it up, stop giving it to people, stop serving it, right? Or stop letting them order it. Not again. Is everybody here? It must just be a Saturday morning. Or my shtick got boring. I don't know. People don't like the truth. It's probably just Saturday morning. Watching Trump from afar, Israel fears being left out of a new Middle East it helped create. Hmm. Jetted from one sprawling palace to another. Angie said it's 0500 here. I always wonder if I'm. Hey, one of the things that I decided a long time ago is I'd never really care much about a crowd size. Um, we've had hundreds of people in our life. It's fun. Okay, I don't want to pay to read that, but I think it's important to point out how the fuckery that is afoot. Okay, this regime. I don't know if you've caught this yet. This regime is Kristi Noem is expected to lead a state-sponsored reality show about immigrants on the run trying to get their citizenship before they get rounded up by ICE. They're going to turn that into a form of entertainment. So, to all of you that are on the edge about whether or not you still support that piece of shit, this regime is planning a reality show, which I'm pretty sure Kristi Noem is going to be like the focal point, where they chase people around that are trying to get their citizenship in order. Yep. Uh huh. Mm-hmm. That's pretty fucking sad. Somebody said so, like cops. Well, okay, like cops, except it's not illegal to be trying to become a citizen. Cops, the implication is the people they were after were criminals. Do you see how that's weird? Like Hunger Games would be a more appropriate line of thought. Janice said, "Oh, no. I just okay. Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with people?" Exactly. Renster. Holy shit. Isolate yourself. Hey, let me just get this out here. Um, at its most basic principle, you can't have illegal people on stolen land. So no one is an illegal immigrant if the land we're living in is stolen. Just lay that out there on the table. Like, nope. And also, there are various reasons someone is not an American citizen, and various ways you can be in the United States and not be a citizen, and various ways in which you could be in the United States, not be a citizen, and be on the way to becoming a citizen. And I don't think any of that is funny or a game, and I really don't give a fuck. I really don't give a fuck if someone is legal or not. Obviously, there are going to be case by case scenarios where I really wish this weren't the timeline, like 50 something Afrikaners, right? These racist motherfuckers from South Africa that nobody wants. Yeah. Hmm. By the way, I watched a video from a black woman where she is actually from South Africa. And she's saying, Jesus, Jared, it's so fucking gross. She's saying the wealth disparity is so bad. I believe is it diaspora? Is that what that's called? That's not what diaspora is. That's people that have been removed from their homeland, like Palestinian people. Um, but yeah, I want to make sure we use our platform and say like there you can't be illegal on stolen land. And also, if you're a white person like me, if your skin's pasty like mine, you are an immigrant here in the United States. This ain't ours. We are not what's it called when you indigenous. White people are not indigenous to the United States. So again, if you're pale, you are an immigrant. You are the son or daughter of an immigrant. You are the granddaughter or grandson of an immigrant. How the fuck you are anti-immigrant when you are an immigrant, I'll never figure out. Like, and again, there's people arguing with me in the comment, like, no shit. You do understand that the most racist people you ever meet in your life are white people that live in the United States. Y'all are immigrants. How the fuck are you anti-immigrant? And disliking people based on the color of their skin is fucking stupid. So I thought it read, "Give me your poor and tired huddled masses." Something about that. All this racist hate's why we're here now. Well, I want to keep continuing to point out that in the 2003-2004 timeframe, Russia as a state came out and said, uh, white nationalism is the key for Russia to the West. This was 20 fucking years ago. And noted white nationalist, I'm trying to remember, his Charles Skinner is his name. I can't remember his name. Google me. Uh, he said in like '04 that racism was a foundational pillar of Russia's platform, right? So racism and white nationalism is 100% imported. Here, I'll just make this real easy for y'all. I had to restart TikTok because I had bots in my chat being that were antagonizing me. They're like people in my chat like stressing me. God damn it. I'm so sorry. I've never bled on camera. Um, but yeah, just want to make sure, and I did post that too, right? Yeah, yeah. The Homeland Security Immigration Reality Show. Um, so I hope y'all have a great weekend. Oh, I got to update. I interviewed um in this last week to be a coach at a high school here in Indianapolis, Indiana. And I heard back from the coach. Told him have a great weekend. I know he's got a lot going on right now, so not even acknowledging that lady. Yeah, 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 yeah. Here's what I'll say. I told my wife this. I am pensive about this role. And I'll tell my audience because I think it's important. I'm very much about signs. I mean, I took with me The Alchemist to my interview. I literally had it in my bag. Okay? In case he asked me what books did I like, right? And I'm like, "Oh, I love this is my favorite book, The Alchemist." What's The Alchemist about? It's about a man on a journey, and everybody keeps telling him you got to watch the signs, right? And then there are signs, and you got to make decisions based on the fucking signs, right? So again, I'm not like naming names or talking about the school or the coach or nothing. I'm just talking about the signs. I don't know what job I was interviewing for. I wasn't informed ahead of time. When I got to the interview and went through the interview, I was told, oh, you'll know what your role is and what the expectations are. Savvy. But I didn't know what I was interviewing for. I felt like I was swimming. And then what I had explained to someone who was a 4-year Division I football player at Indiana University just down the road is that I had absolutely no intentions of playing college football. Because when I was 15 years old, they came to my high school, Purdue University did, to recruit Justin Heatberg. And I can say his name because we were the same age. Okay. And Justin Heatberg was the best football player I'd ever seen in my life. He's kind of a dick, but he played both sides of the ball as a big boy, offensive tackle, defensive end, and absolutely crushed everything. He was great. And when he was a freshman in high school, that's how good he was. Um, Purdue's coaching staff, Joe Tiller, came to recruit him. They got a hotel. They spent the whole week. They came to practices. They went to the freshman game. They went to the JV game. They were supposed to stay. They were going to go to the varsity game. There were guys that were on varsity that were seniors that like would love to show out in front of fucking Purdue staff, right? And just so everyone knows, this is not a fun story to tell, but it is the truth. Um, at halftime of the JV game, Joe Tiller stood up and turned around and said, "Okay, I've seen enough. He's incredible. Better than I could have ever guessed." And for the record, he really was playing out his ass. Okay. He was balling out of control. He turned around to the coaches, to the players' family, and said, "What's his GPA?" in front of God and everybody. And his parents were like 2 point, like a low. He wasn't a very good student. And Joe Tiller was pissed. And he was like, "I can't believe I brought my whole staff. We got a hotel room, right? We were going to stay for the whole week and observe this player." And he just shit the bed academically. And they left. So think about his GPA didn't just impact him. It impacted those kids that are 4 years older than you that hadn't gotten to play in front of a college scout before and were on the cusp of that. It was going to happen for a lot of kids. The connection between Mooresville and that program probably would have been pretty strong, right? And instead they left at fucking halftime of the JV game. And as they were leaving, my mom, because she's my mother, chased them down, and she told Joe Tiller, "That's my son, that 6 foot 200 pound player right there, and he has a 3.86 GPA, and he just got a really high score on the SAT." And I got to meet Joe Tiller when I was like 15, 16 years old. He waved me over to him. I shook his hand, and he said, "I'll see you at Purdue one day." And for the record, that was the last time I heard from that man until I was in college. So, I mean, he was right. But they still left, and it still, for the record, it put a bad taste in my whole town's mouth. If you really want to talk about some shit, no one that I went to high school with fucks with me, and that is why. Because when I was like 15, 16 years old, they did not come for me. They came for someone else. And they were sorely fucking disappointed, and I was the thing that made this trip worthwhile for that staff is that, hey, there's a real smart kid that might come to Purdue one day. For the record, I absolutely saw the role that was being created. Not at all upset about this. Use your brain. That's what I was always told. Use your fucking brain, right? So I go to Purdue. Now, I didn't go to Purdue like most people go to college. I went to Purdue the week after I graduated high school. I wanted the fuck out of Mooresville. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay. So within a week after graduating high school, I was on Purdue's campus, taking a full slate of classes. Now, again, at no point in this story did I say, and I got recruited by Purdue, and I was on scholarship, and I got to play football. That is not what happened. I went to class. I got out of class at like noon. I had nothing to do the rest of the day. All of a sudden I found myself, you have options. And now when you're 18 years old, you don't have very many options when you're in college. There's nothing to fucking do. And it's summertime at a college, there's nothing going on. So what happened? I got really familiar with a weight room and a gym. and I started tracking what I was eating, and I'm tracking my workouts and shit. And I became a really, actually, for my size and weight at 6'3", 220, I was a pretty good fucking athlete. And one day, the CoRec, which is the public gym on Purdue's campus, it was closed for cleaning. It's a summer. And there was a sign on the door. And it literally said, if you really want to lift weights, go to this facility over here. And I laughed. I was like, there's no fucking way that they're going to open the athletic weight room to the public. And if you asked me if I'd been by that place before, I told you, yeah, them doors are closed. There's no handle on the door and there's cameras everywhere. It's like a secure area. That's like a farm door. When they open it, it's like two big doors that open outward, right? And so I run up there. I took the bus over there. I was really gonna go. It was a lift day. So I went up there to go lift, and I'm dead serious. If I've been by there before, them doors are closed, and there's no way there's no way you're getting in there. And I went by there, and the doors were open outward. And again, it's because the gym was being cleaned, right? So again, don't read into the sign, right? But the doors were open, and I went to walk up to the doors like, holy shit! And this girl came out with a clipboard and a tennis skirt. And she walked up to me and she said, "Can I have your student ID?" And she wrote my name down and my student ID number and she handed it back to me. And she's like, "What are you doing over here?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm just coming to lift weights. I was going to go to the CoRec, but it's closed, I guess." And she's like, "Yeah, you can come in here and lift." And I was like, "Okay, that's cool." And she literally was like, "Do you play sports?" I mean, I love sports. Yeah, why? She's like, "Oh, okay, cool. Do you want to play football?" And I was like, "Are you what?" And she handed me a stack of papers and she said, you have to show up to like this percentage of the meetings, this percentage of the practices, this percentage of the workouts in order to be considered a walk on. But you missed so much that you won't be a walk on. You'll kind of be like a pre walk on. And then for next season, we may ask you to stick around kind of based on how shit goes. Shut the fuck up. What? So, like, I worked out in their facilities and became friends with the players and went to the meetings and went to the practices. She literally was like, "What position do you play?" And I was like, quarterback." And for the record, some of the players were like, "You're a fraud," because I was trying to walk on as a quarterback at like QBU at the time. Drew Brees was the year before I went to Purdue. And then my first year at Purdue, Kyle Orton and Brandon Kirsch were the quarterbacks. Kyle Orton played forever in the NFL, and Brandon Kirsch won 2 Grey Cups. So not only was I never touching the field, I wasn't on the team. I wasn't even considered a walk on. I was literally in the way. Literally got pushed around. Not like disrespectfully, but like I was in people's way. Right? And then after my freshman year of college, after not my freshman year, but the freshman season, Joe Tiller asked the Purdue coaching staff asked my high school coaching staff for a tape. We need some tape on Malott. And I don't, again, one of the things I'm fuzzy on is who made this. So one of the things I realized is I may have misattributed the creation and who did this, whether it was Mooresville High School, the football program, my head coach, my parents. I don't actually know where this tape came from, but it was like 2 hours long. And so we didn't watch all of it together, but we sat there for a long time and he was like, maybe we should have recruited you for hands. You've got really good hands. We could have used that, especially in special teams situations, and you'd play special teams, right? Like, yeah. And then he basically told me at the end of it, like, we'd like you to come back and play tight end, but Jared, you're going to have to gain weight. And I don't know if you've ever been told that in your whole life, but if you're going to play tight end at the Division I level, you have to gain 40 pounds. And I don't know if you can handle 40 more pounds on your frame and still move like you move because you're a pretty good athlete. But as you can see, this is QBU. I got quarterbacks coming out of my ear hole. But I need tight ends. And I did that for so the second semester freshman year, I was in the weight room, in the cafeteria, eating protein, getting big, trying to get as big as I could get. And I didn't get to play the second year. I didn't even get to stand on the sideline or get a uniform. None of that shit. Second year, I was technically a walk on, and I was not ready most of the time. And when I did practice, I got my fucking ass kicked because Joe Tiller was right. 235, 240, playing tight end in the Big Ten at that time was smaller than the linebackers at that time, and I was getting killed. So after I didn't get to play, didn't get to dress. At the end of the second season, they sent out an do you want to dress for the bowl game? And it was a couple grand. And in hindsight, you beg, borrow, and steal for the money. You go to the fucking bowl game and get yourself a Purdue football uniform, and you have that for the rest of your life, and no one can take it away from you, right? Except I called my mom and was kind of bitching about it, about how I basically gave up, my whole freshman year of college. I could have been doing anything else, and I gave it to this football program, and I got zero out of it. And then they're going to ask me to spend a couple $1,000s and go sit in a hotel and go to play in a bowl. And again, if I had to do that all over again, I just go to the bowl. Because there's your proof. Here's my uniform. Here's some pictures, right? Instead, I called my mom and was just complaining. It was like $2,500. And she said, I'll give you the money if you find something else to do with it. And I said, what? And she said, just what I just told you. You have spent the last year of your life in service of an organization that did not give you anything. And I was like, they did give me food. And she's like, you didn't get to dress. You didn't get to travel. You know what I mean? A lot of the kids said that you were a fraud because you were trying to walk on as a quarterback. We have like guys that are going to play in the NFL. Like the fuck? You're never getting an opportunity. That's kind of what the line was. But again, I just want to point out Kyle Orton hurt his knee, Brandon Kirsch hurt his ankle, and I was this fucking close. So you better just remember this story, okay? So my freshman year, it was closer than I was closer to playing than you'd think. Okay, we had the first and second string quarterbacks both get injured. Okay, now the second year didn't get a dress, didn't get a play, wasn't even available most of the season, and when I did get to practice, it was not pretty. Okay. And after that year, it was, I don't know if, you've gained some weight. I went from 220 to 245, and he still wanted me at like 260. You need to be at 260 to play. And the hard reality is you don't move at 260 pounds like you move at 220 or less. That 40-pound weight difference is a took me from being considered being in the rotation as a tight end to you don't carry that weight well, so you have to be lighter, which puts you at 245, which makes you a tweener on offense, which is what you don't want to be. You don't want to be too big to be a wide receiver, too small to be a tight end. You're never playing. The only thing I'll ever play you at is fullback. And so didn't end up playing football actually, right? So there's no lies to tell, right? I wasn't on the roster. I didn't go to the sidelines during games. I didn't get to travel with the team, and the only game I got asked to dress for was a fucking bowl game. Okay, which I didn't do that because my mom was like, literally do anything else, and so I joined the ski and snowboard club and went on the annual ski and snowboard trip and got to ski snowboard in Colorado and Salt Lake City, in Denver and Salt Lake City, like the pinnacle of ski and snowboards kind of culture. I was an out cold kid. I don't know if any of you've ever seen that movie. And then I also played club volleyball at Purdue because I could still jump. I was still a pretty good athlete. And for the record, that's as close as I got to playing competitive sports in college. I played a full season of club volleyball. We traveled. We won the Big Ten championships. I was not on the A team. I was on the B team, but we competed everywhere the A team did. So I think my story is great because, especially if you're a young kid, and it's like, do you want to be in my spot at my age and showing you how close I got? Yeah, that's not the desirable outcome, right? And it's not that I feel bad or I'm losing sleep over that. I have long since settled with the idea that maybe not everyone that's around you has your best interest. Maybe not everyone around you lives with the clarity necessary to help you make decisions. Sometimes you just got to make your own decisions. That's what I've learned in my life. Like maybe you don't ask other people what to do before you make a decision. Now, again, do I live with regret? No, because my regret starts too young. If I would have known that I was going to be this close to playing Division 1 football because of my noggin, I would have been a way better athlete when I got there, and maybe been not had to gain so much mass in order to be a relevant player. And then that makes me think like, well, fuck, I would have started working when I was in middle school. That way I could have showed out in high school and helped my program in high school more, because then maybe, you know what I mean? And then you're going too far back and now you're regretting decisions you made as a kid when you weren't in charge, when everyone else was telling you what to do and making decisions for you, right? So that's one of the mentally healthy things that I've come away from life with, is that my truth is awesome, and I don't have to lie about anything. And the beauty is that my proximity, like my how close I was to making it, should be a great motivator for someone that's like 15, 16 years old. If you know that you can get there with your brain, right? If you know that you're smart enough to go to college. Hey, I don't know about y'all if you ain't heard about this NIL shit where they pay you millions. So not only do you not have to pay for your college, but you also get fucking paid to just live, right? Hey, that's a much more desirable outcome, right? Than getting all the way there and realizing how nearly possible this is. And there's going to be naysayers. There's going to be people that say you'll never have a kid that you coach get that close to a program. And I would already tell you au contraire. So for those of you doubting me, I had a kid play 1 year of high school football, go to North Carolina Central, and before the end of his first year of college, he is in the football weight room. So like I said, and he knows exactly what I just told you, that he started gaining mass when he was in high school. He started focusing on, oh, I'm 6'4" and I only weigh 205. And I was like, yes, and you got to be 225 by the time you leave high school. And then that coach, when you get to college, is going to be like, damn, you're a little bit of a big guy. Like 6'4", 225 is pretty fucking big, right? And then it's just about where do they want you to land, right? 240, 250, 260 or bigger, right? And you just got to be willing to do whatever they ask, right? Um, so yeah, I think that conversation happened. And also, when I left Purdue's football program, Joe Tiller told me you should try out to play basketball. That you missed some stuff, but like I'll get you into the thing. You can actually play ball, and so I did also get to try to play basketball. I didn't make the team. Same story. Um, but I did get kept. So they went from like 40 to 25. I made that first cut. I didn't make the team. But again, I think that's like a perfect motivator for a kid. Perfect motivator. Not the desirable outcome at all. If I had to go back and do that all over, that ain't what happens. But that's what happened. That's the truth. And the problem is that the coach I told that story to asked me about a person that they said this person was the director of operations, and if you tried out for the basketball team, you would have known them. And I drew a blank. I was like, "Oh my God, I don't know who that is." And that makes it look like I was lying, right? Well, I woke up on Friday, woke up yesterday morning, and I Googled the person that they were talking about. And they were not the director of operations for years after I was there. So what I perceived as the only issue in the interview that raises any questions is that I didn't know who that person was, and it just so happens they weren't even the director of operations for 4 years after I was there. Um, and again, I know who the person that had the job was when I was there, Todd Foster, for the record. But other than that, I thought our interview went great. Again, my story isn't his story. His story is 4 years of football at Indiana University and a storied 25-year coaching career, right? Um, but that's where my headspace has been. Is I don't want to ever be called a liar because the truth is beautiful. Like it really is. I don't need to exaggerate anything about that to make it it is exactly what it is and it's perfectly acceptable to me, right? One of the things that the people that I have worked with and for have praised me for consistently is my brain, and to have a story about playing football or sports in college and have sports coaches recognizing, hey, this kid's smart. Like you can use him, right? And same thing when I was on active duty in the Marine Corps. My leadership did not treat me poorly because they recognized this kid's like intelligent. Like we could use him, right? He could be an asset to us, right? And I hope, obviously, as I tell you the story, that I'm not singing to a bunch of people that get treated like shit, right? So obviously, it kind of sucks if you don't get treated well where you are, right? A lot of people I've known that aren't very intelligent. People are very cruel to people they deem not very intelligent. I've noticed that. I don't know if y'all know if you've noticed that in your life. People are cruel to people they perceive as lesser than them. So here's your hey everybody. Morning. 50501 Protester Finder USA. Protest Finder USA. Sorry about the dogs barking in the background. So I just want to make sure, I'm talking about as the president of the United States is actively a racist and is trying to like return the United States to its racist roots. Understand that that's heavily influenced by the Kremlin and Vladimir Putin. As I said earlier, white nationalism is a Russian imperative. The division, it keeps people arming and protecting themselves. It's an entire industry. My dog's super excited that everybody's awake. Again, one of the things I try not to do because a lot of this shit is super triggering. But I will make sure I share here. Suppress news. If you had to ask. High kicking granny. Here's the thing about this 8647 that bothers me. What's wrong with this? You know what I mean? What's wrong with fuck Donald Trump? Hey, hey, fuck Donald Trump. Thanks, Debs. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm just saying. Like he's all panties twisted up over 8647, right? And it's like FDT. You got more worked up about 8647 than FDT. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, he called service members suckers. Fuck yeah, he did. How the fuck did you like? You know what kind of cuck you gotta be to serve your country and have the president of the United States call you a sucker and a loser, and you be like, "Yeah, he's right, bro." It's just, I mean, that's just true. It's true. There's a lot of people that like support Big Orange, um, that served that have no problem with that, or the fact that this regime wants to privatize veterans' health care, and y'all still like cape for him. So you understand if you're a disabled veteran that you don't have to pay for health care, and most of the time you're going into a full service medical facility, right? And so if you're, well, hold on, Britt. If you're a veteran who's getting free healthcare at a full service facility, and you vote for someone that wants to privatize that, and they want to make med check points, meaning like they want to take the quality of healthcare down and make veterans pay for it. Okay, so how you could be a veteran and be like, yeah, that's equitable. I guess I should have to pay. You cuck. How the fuck? I'll never figure it out. But Medicaid. Medicaid's a big one. We got to make sure we talk about this on our show. Again, this is an industry I worked in for years. Okay? I want to make sure that I'm using my platform to say things like Free Palestine, Slava Ukraine, and oh, by the way, the spending bill with that massive Medicaid cut didn't make it out of committee. 5 staunch Republicans voted to block that bill from coming out of committee. So that big spending bill with that big Medicaid cut, not going to happen. Okay? But taking services away from people kills them. So when you talk about reducing the Medicaid budget, who do you think they take healthcare away from? Yeah. Yeah, it didn't make it out of committee yesterday. I know it's tough. And remember who the axis of evil really who these people really are. This is their attempt at consolidation of power, right? See, Brittany said those that have been on Medicaid for years or have extensive medical or mental health needs. Right, right. It's not kids, it's not mothers. It's people that have extensive medical needs. It's you. I believe this is textbook definition eugenics, but I'm gonna look it up just to make sure. Yeah. See again, they also want to cut healthcare from adults with disabilities, whose parents make too much money. Okay. As someone who has had clients that have kids with disabilities, oh my God, that have kids with disabilities, fucking heroes. Like, you do realize when we talk about levels of dependency, most of the people that I talk to don't even speak to their parents. Do you get what I'm saying? But when you're trying to take healthcare away from people with extensive medical issues or people that are disabled to the point that their family has to take care of them, it's eugenics. They don't want those people reproducing. This is eugenics in practice. Yeah, these are young people who need ongoing care for life. Hmm. Yep. Reno said, first of all, thank you for service. Thank you. What do you think about New England joining Canada? Hmm. Hello, Prophet 26. It's Prophet second 32. I don't know what that means. Prophet second 33rd Marine. What? I was in Second Battalion, Second Marines Weapons Company. 2-2. Second Mardiv. Yeah, yeah. The I shared that story. Meta is building a data center powered by gas. In case you wondered what Dr. Ock was up to. I mean, um, Mark Zuckerberg. What did I say? Hell Prophet. That's cool though. No, I was a warlord. Where did I hear what? Where did I hear what? Thank you, culture. Wait, where did I hear what? Oh, here. There's a link in the chat from The Verge. Meta's building data centers and they're going to build gas plants to power them. I believe this is a plot line from Fallout 4. You could call me crazy. Isn't one of the missions in a gas plant? And the bad guys are siphoning the gas to power like a super armor? Am I fucking losing my mind? Was that not Fallout 4? Yeah, it's Fallout. Mhm. Isn't there? It's like we're pretty early in the game too. Pretty middle of the map. I'm pretty sure it's a gas plant. And they're in like the back in the it fucking sucks. I hate that level too. I've told you he sits around and watches TV all day. Yeah, he sits around and watches TV all day, so he's probably seen Fallout the show. Brittany said, "I'm in Texas. Musk is totally building a megatown here for white South Africans." Yo, that's crazy. Dina said one of my senators said people don't need health care. Oh my god. You know what fucking breaks my fucking brain? When I talk to someone and I'm like, "Okay, what about what's going on with your health care?" And they say like, "Oh, my wife and I, we haven't had health care in 27 years." And you're like, you just didn't have health care? Like how do you get like treated if you get sick? You know, like you need stitches, like what the fuck? And they're like, "Oh, it costs less if you just pay in cash." What? Who fuck told you that? That's crazy talk. Don't do that, kids. Get health insurance. And I've also met people that are not sick and they're overinvested in their healthcare, and it's just a fucking shitty system. Who, Cece, you mean he made them more popular than ever? Remember, everything that Donald Trump touches, it has the inverse effect of what he would like the desirable outcome to be, right? He says Bruce Springsteen and Taylor Swift are trash, and their ticket sales plummet, and you never hear from them again. But the reality is, he made them. Donald Trump points at someone and says, "That's my enemy," you just made them my friend. Like you just made me start listening to Bruce again. Not that I didn't already. I was born in a small town. That third world country living with cash is more likely than insurance. Right. Right. Except that that's fucking delusional and that's not how that works at all. And they're just lucky that they haven't had a major problem. Um, yeah, he's gonna there. See, that makes sense. He gonna investigate Taylor Swift and Bruce Springsteen. I bet you that Ticketmaster shit gets resolved real fucking quick, right? Small town is Mellencamp. I know, that's why I said I was born. Oh, it is Mellencamp, not Bruce Springsteen. My bad. Bruce Springsteen talked before, like he was already anti-Trump. Yeah, like Rick Wilson said, everything Trump touches just dies. Yes, yes. Yeah. Which just means you're gonna see Bruce and Taylor Swift continue to dominate pop culture and music in general. Um, and for the record, those two I've seen in pictures with each other. They're cronies, so don't act like those two aren't having a gaff and having a laugh about like he endangered our lives because now he put their sycophants on us. But on the whole, that's going to be a positive for them. And again, that's what you want. You want the people that Donald Trump taps as enemies. And we've been talking about measles for a while on here. I understand that shit's not going anywhere. You said sound going in and out. I don't know that I really wasn't saying much there for a moment. Hmm. Also, we see De Niro everywhere. Put him, yeah, yeah. 1,000 cases of measles. We've been kind of tracking infectious disease on the show because I know a lot of people aren't. So I'm wondering if people decline in health and have advanced stuff up. Oh, like the 25th Amendment. Yeah, Brittany, I don't know how long you've been watching the show, but one of the, I was in the Marine Corps infantry and I'm an Eagle Scout. Do you know what art is, Catherine? While you have critique, I noticed that you have not commended me for being here every day for over 6 months, speaking news and politics and speaking truth into the universe. I noticed that you have not commended me, but you have plenty to critique me over. Uh huh. This is art. These were gifts. Do you understand how that's different? If you have a hard time, that's on you. It's completely acceptable to have art. Yes, it is. I said so. hmm hmm No, I didn't do that. I didn't make them. Somebody else made them and they were given to me. hmm And also, it makes people like you act out. Do you see how it's working? Make sure that your make sure that your support is as loud as your critique, especially when it's wrong-headed. Okay, Andre, maybe not spamming that in the chat, right? Uh, Andre, maybe don't spam that in the chat. That's how you get us blocked on here, buddy. But maybe that's by design, even when I say like not to. Blocked. But yeah, getting on here and nitpicking me isn't that's fighting a losing battle. Because again, the kids that I coached have begged for these and said I want to put them up on my wall in my room at college. And I said, "Come take them." And they've just been in college. But the fact that you're focusing on those tells me you, you're in denial. You can't look at everything else going on in the world and realize there's much fucking way bigger fish to fry than those things sitting on the wall. They're not for sale. I didn't make them. They were gifts. They are actually owned by other people that have just yet to come get them. And I think they're artful. And they're fair use. And the person that made them did all the things that you're supposed to do to be able to create them. And for the record, they sold just the wooden burnt flags. They sold those for like $50 to $150 a piece, kind of depending on how they came out. And then these, because of fair use and because he actually bought the ability to reproduce logos and stuff, those are like $300 to $450 a pop. And it's all done on like a 3D printer. And it was an industry for someone and a way for them to make money after COVID. And I think as long as you're willing to follow all the laws and rules and you reproduce stuff like this, it's okay. It's art. hmm I can understand if it was like an American flag and it had something else sewed on it and shit. Like that's scumbaggish as fuck, right? But this is art to me. Art, and a gift. hmm And again, it would be different if it was like mine. I made it. I'm trying to sell them. Hey, I would not be cool with that. Just so you know. I would be like, oh man, yeah, it's not probably not great to be a veteran making these and trying to sell them, right? Especially if you don't have the fair use ability, right? And lots of people make stuff and break fair use all the time without getting permission, or it's called written consent, right? Appreciate you, Britt. I thought that was the person that had all that critique earlier. Um, but yeah, I want you to know that the president of the United States wakes up every day and fucking loses. Okay, so you don't have to like him or not. Okay, but he's not winning. Okay, he's not he is not getting what he wants. Joe, we just went over this. They're art, and they were a gift. They're not for sale. I didn't make them. Mm-mm. And all of the applicable laws were followed to create them. No, it's what is that called? An overlay. Smiles said Knicks versus us Hicks. Again, baby, Knicks going down. Hey, I made a video earlier today where I said, look, the pinnacle of Eastern Conference Finals basketball since Michael fucking Jordan is Indiana Pacers v New York Knicks. And you're about to watch that. Oh, it's AI generated? Yeah. Unfortunately for most men, I wake up like this. You know what I'm saying? With a full grown beard and this fucking voice. It's just. Huh. Jelly Toast said AI generated. All right, listen. But yeah, Indiana Pacers v New York Knicks. I'm absolutely thrilled. There are my two other favorite sports fans. I have three, actually, three. New York sports fans are fucking phenomenal. Philadelphia sports fans are phenomenal, and also um, Cleveland Browns fans are salt of the earth. Mhm. 94, if I'm not mistaken. Reggie 9.8 seconds. I remember watching it live. Yeah, I mean the whole 90s though. I'm trying to think. One of the most bitter in the NBA. I mean, listen to all these times the Knicks and Pacers have played in the playoffs. 93 Eastern Conference Finals first round. Eastern Conference first round. 94 Eastern Conference Finals. 95 Eastern Conference semifinals. 98 Eastern Conference semifinals. 99 Eastern Conference Finals. 2000 Eastern Conference Finals. 2013 Eastern Conference semis, and then 2024 Eastern Conference semifinals. So that was last year, and then now they'll play in the conference finals again. So there's just a history of this. My sound is going in and out. Well, that's wild. I don't know. Like sometimes I'm just not talking. Is that what it is? Because I have a mic mixer that I can see, and obviously if it's not fucking working, it's not fucking working. But I don't see where it's. I don't know. We'll just keep going. I'm sorry. Somebody said I love y'all. Analytics. Hopefully that's better. I don't know. I don't know if I can do anything. I do have like a professional microphone, but I never used it. I just used the headset instead. And in the news that should surprise absolutely no one. Here's Newsweek writers doing the important work, saying, Kamala beat Donald Trump if the election was rerun today. Obviously, I think I've said over and over again, just make sure those of you still clinging on to DJT understand his intent to turn the Gaza Strip into a fucking resort. And U.S. President recently visited the Middle East for the several days and did not visit Israel. And understand that all of this movement by Donald Trump is pushed from behind the scenes by Vladimir Putin. Yeah, yeah. He's making friends with the wrong kinds of people. I mean, look, I try not to sit up here as a veteran, talk about wars I didn't fight in and shit. But the thing that bothers me about being pro Trump, right? Um, Especially if you know a veteran or are a service member or veteran, is that uh, Russia put bounties on U.S. soldiers and paid up to $250,000 per mission to take out U.S. troops. And I just want to keep pointing this out that Donald Trump, in his first term, negotiated for the release of 5,000 Al Qaeda, right? And then when Joe Biden first got into office, they tried to get out of Afghanistan, and there was a loss of life, right? Understand that I and every person that works in like war, like the military, like that cares about the truth, they know that the reason there were so many fucking people there when they were trying to get out leave is because of those 5,000 Al Qaeda, who again, Donald Trump taking this $400 million airplane as a gift. The people that he got it from are the people that financed 9/11. Okay. And also, what makes it even better is that $400 million airplane isn't a $400 million airplane. That is a 13 or 14-year-old aircraft. Okay. That is not worth anywhere near 400 million. And it's actually closer to not being usable than it is being a palace in the sky. So I just want to point out that the president of the United States took boo boo from the people that committed 9/11. Like I'm not saying like he got a nice airplane. Nah, doggy. He got used shit. He got the used Rari and then got home and it's got a 5 horsepower Briggs and Stratton engine in it and just a funny fucking intake. Working on TikTok, breaking up here. Don't know. Rick said I was a 3-2 Semper Fi. Somebody said Trump was bought. Oh, honey, he is for sale. You know what I never figured out? Why Trump didn't get into realty? Because that motherfucker is for sale, and everything is property. Hey, that was actually a pretty good line. Actually, I never figured out how Donald Trump didn't get into realty because that motherfucker is for sale and everything is property. That's as hat tip there with the full crowd. Nixon 6. Hey, you know what? Big balls. Mm-hmm. Pacers in 5. Gentlemen's sweep all the way to the finals. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the things you might do if it's messed up for you, understand I'm terrible at this. So if my shit isn't working, it's my fault. Huh? Huh? If you can't hear me, that's on me. That's me. Um, what? The one thing that TikTok bothers me with is they make me do things to keep my screen, even though I'm sitting here moving. You know what I mean? The thing about it, Ants, he ain't for sale to the highest bidder. How the fuck you gonna get a 15-year-old airplane and be like, this is worth $400 million? It's a palace in the sky, and you're just like, it's spray paint. It's that plane was for sale and junk. He took the king, yeah, yeah, in 5, yeah. Oh, my Drake proceeds to hang his nuts to the floor with that hotter take. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, I don't think the Knicks have the shooters to stay in games. Full of bugs as well. Oh yeah. Well, which kind of bugs, Patricia? Because I was thinking like it was ratty, but also like they bugged the comms, right? From what I understand though, there's a company that has a contract to like debug that plane though. So it will get outfitted just like Air Force One, which is fucking crazy, and it's going to cost a bunch of taxpayer money, and it's fucking unfortunate. Okay. I want to make sure anytime I have a large percentage of people watching me, hey, yeah, it's going to cost millions of dollars to refab that. Yes, it will. By the time they're done with it, it won't be worth 400 million. That's for fucking sure. Who's your snipers in the Pacers? Forgive my ignorance. Tell me who to look out for. Oh, everybody. That's the thing that's crazy about the Pacers. If you really want to know, they're like 10 or 12 deep, and everybody can hit. It's Obi Toppin and Miles Turner can hit. Those are the centers, right? And then Hallie, Nemhard. Yeah. The only one who's really not a sniper is TJ McConnell, but that's because he's a ball handler and a distributor. But the Pacers have a deep rotation that the Knicks can't touch. They don't have a deep rotation. You're 7 players to 9 players deep. The Pacers are 13 players fucking deep. Like they got people in the parking lot that can still play. Like, yeah, I'll leave it at that. It's New York. It's New York. You got to be careful. You got to be careful. Them bright lights, right? The thing about MSG, right? You got to be careful. Playing in the fucking garden will do that. It'll do that thing to you. Some people show up. Some people just don't show up. It's tough to play in a garden, right? That's the whole thing. And the Pacers, for the record, like even though they have a great home crowd, it's a great friendly home crowd. The Pacers don't normally see raucous road energy like they're going to see from New York. I mean, they were surfing on doors last night. I'm just New York, Philly, Cleveland Browns fans, fucking phenomenal. If I wasn't like an Indiana kid and an Indiana sports fan, I would be like a. Mhm. Not a Yankees fan. Just get that out there. Not a Yankees fan. Not a Yankees, Lakers, or Cowboys fans. Because that means you're just a front runner. Like you are only fans of teams that win, right? And I know that just hurts someone's feelings, and I'm sorry. The truth hurts. I've been on here way too long. Why didn't anybody tell me? He says it was free. Yeah, there ain't nothing free. Not even the ratty airplane they gave you. Here's the thing about it. I still can't believe the president of the United States took a fucking aircraft. Like the president of the United States took an airplane from someone and was like, "This is a $400 million fucking airplane. It's a palace in the fucking sky." And it took less than a week for people to be like, "That's a shithole. That shit is like 15 years old. That shit is used, has been for sale forever." That the people that gave it to him, they were trying to dump it. Reno says Indiana wants me. Ooh. Ooh. What does that mean? Be ready or the Knicks can steal one at Conseco. I don't think so. Again, this I would say the same thing for the Knicks. The Knicks are not regularly going to play with the kind of energy you get. Oh, I was like, are you an athlete that I need to know about? I don't know. What if they're like a basketball player, you know? What if they're like a high school football player? Like, I'm going to Indiana. I gotta go to work. So, just throw up some Eat the Rich and get out of here. Remember, most of the time when you watch like a show, they have like an opening show or opening song, closing song. They sit behind a. None of you were like, Jared, it's been 90 minutes. You've been here forever. Hey, we just went so long without getting kicked off of TikTok. You know, it's like we know we ain't supposed to be here. So, you guys have a good day. Take it easy. Don't let them get to you. These motherfuckers are losing their ass, and it's hilarious. I know I don't feel like it's it's kind of laughable. It's kind of laughable. He's bad. He's a bad guy. So have a good one.